Government Council, Management and Staff of the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, I warmly welcome you to this press briefing marking Nigeria's 2026 Democracy Day. This occasion provides a national moment for reflection on our democratic journey, an assessment of progress made, and a renewed commitment to strengthening democratic governance, peace, and national cohesion. Before I proceed, it's important for me to take a little extract from Mr. President's own June 12th Democracy Day remark. He said, please, you can criticize me, you can say anything about me, but please don't lose hope on this country, Nigeria. I think that if any of us here is losing hope in this country, then we are losing hope as human beings, because this is a space that Almighty God has given us, to make sure that we build, in spite of the challenges, in spite of the difficulties, we remain faithful, hopeful, resilient, and we continue to build the democratic process that we all say we agree with. At the outset, it is important to reaffirm the fundamental principle that democracy remains the best form of government yet devised by human being. The entire humankind, everybody goes to democracy, even the Chinese. In their central party also, what they try to do is democracy. Rural level also, what they try to do also is democracy, that is people inclusion. While it is not without challenge, democracy offers the most legitimate and peaceful means for leadership selection, accountability, participation, and the protection of fundamental human rights. Its enduring strength lies in its openness to reform, its reliance on citizen participation, and its capacity to resolve competing interests through dialogue rather than coercion. As Nigeria marks another year of uninterrupted democratic governance, it is important to recognize that the strength and sustainability of democracy depend on the active participation of citizens. Democracy flourishes when citizens are informed, engaged, and committed to shaping the decisions that affect their lives. But it becomes vulnerable when they withdraw from the process. Many of the challenges confronting Nigerian democracy today are not necessarily failures of the democratic system itself. Rather, they stem from inadequate citizen participation, weak democratic culture, limited civic knowledge, voter apathy, and declining engagement in the electoral governance process by the citizens. Findings from our Institute Strategic Conflict Assessment and field-based interventions consistently reveal that pressures on our democratic system are often linked to these underlying deficits rather than to democracy as a concept. Where citizens understand their rights and responsibilities, participate actively in the elections and public affairs, and hold institutions accountable through lawful means, democratic processes tend to be more peaceful, credible, inclusive, and legitimate. Conversely, when citizens become disengaged, space is created for manipulation, exclusion, misinformation, electoral malpractice, and instability. The lesson is clear. Democracy cannot be sustained by institutions alone, but requires an active, informed, and vigilant citizenry. Strengthening civic education, promoting democratic values, and encouraging broader participation in both electoral and governance processes are therefore essential, not only for deepening democracy, but also for advancing peace, stability, and national development. A persistent concern emerging from this research and field engagement is voter apathy. What we try to do in this is to make sure that we try to be empirical in terms of the data collections and the evidences of our study. That is what informs some of these conversations that we are having. This disengagement is often driven by declining trust in institutions, fear of electoral violence, misinformation, unmet governance expectations, and the perception that individual votes will not influence political outcomes. Yet, democracy is fundamentally weakened when citizens withdraw from participation. Voter apathy undermines accountability, weakens the legitimacy of elected government, and creates opportunity for manipulation and the capture of democratic processes by narrow interests. Nigerian citizens must begin to see election not just as a periodic political event, but the primary means through which they can exercise sovereignty, influence leadership selection, and hold government accountable. It is therefore imperative that Nigerians, especially young people, reject apathy and actively engage in the electoral and governance processes, recognizing that a stronger democracy depends on informed, active, and responsible citizen participation. Closely linked to this is the imperative of violence-free and credible election. Electoral violence, intimidation, and the use of coercive political practices remain serious threats to democratic consolidation. IPCR mediation and early warning engagements have repeatedly shown that electoral violence not only suppresses turnout, but also undermines post-election legitimacy and fuels long-term grievances. It is therefore critical that all stakeholders recommit to peaceful political competition where ideas, policies, and leadership capacity, not force, determine outcomes.
And conflict resolution in holding this press brief today. Search for Common Ground is an international peace building organization that promotes collaborative approaches to addressing conflicts. Search for Common Ground has been in Nigeria since 2004, and our work in Nigeria largely promotes peaceful coexistence, collaborative approaches, and also inclusive processes. In relation to the commemoration of the 2026 Democracy Day, which we're having today in collaboration with the Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution. Search for Common Ground is excited to join with IPCR to share the ideas of democracy today. As an organization, our core methodology, which is the Common Ground approach, is hinged on collaboration and inclusive approaches to addressing conflict. We are aware that while democracy is a treasure for our country, we all need to guard it jealously. And in guarding it jealously, we also need to jointly work together to address the drivers of conflict in our country today. And for us at Search for Common Ground, we are retreating the need for government, the need for citizens, and all individuals to look beyond our differences, but look towards collaborative innovations and approaches that could help us work together to gently address the drivers of conflict. Particularly within the context of the insecurity in Nigeria, where we are bedeviled with banditry, kidnapping, and other vices which are a threat to our democracy. We recommend win-win approaches, approaches that are inclusive in nature and addresses the root drivers of the conflict, approaches which would address issues related to the incentives as well as the frustrations that people face. I'd like to hinge my speech around young people because Search for Common Ground is passionate about engaging young people in the country, and we are advocating to government, to the young people, and all like-minded individuals in Nigeria to look around innovative approaches that could empower young people and also address the frustrations against their recruitment into violent extremist groups. And we see this as one of the biggest dangers and that we currently face as a country today. Where while we already have criminal elements in the country, there exists a larger potential of young people who, if not engaged meaningfully, would also be recruited and would pose a bigger risk to our democracy and to our country as a whole. Currently at Search for Common Ground, we have deployed an innovative approach, a reality show, which is showcasing alternatives to violent extremism, where we are showcasing young people from the northwest region of the country, drawn from Sokoto, Katsina, and Zamfara, who would be transformed in a journey that will be showcased to the entire country, where young people from communities who before now have not had opportunities will undergo a transformation process and would also be supported into entrepreneurship and to be peace ambassadors and advocates. And then we want to showcase their journey and we are hoping that this inspires the country, our leaders, our young people, showcasing that there are alternatives to violent extremism